We begin with Bradley, Will Franklin, J.J. Twy, Daniel Ruffin, the guards, and it is Zach Andrews at center and Matt Sally making his 7th start since Jeremy Crouch went out with a strained knee. For Illinois State, starting lineup looks like this for Porter Moser: Osiris Eldridge, Boo Richardson, Johnson, Dyer, and Dilligard. The first 3 players there, all brand new this year for the Redbirds. We'll be back with the tip-off of tonight's Bradley-Illinois State matchup right after this. 1,140. Bradley Sports Information Director Bobby Parker says they could go beyond that as we look at the Missouri Valley Conference standings. There's Southern Illinois at 7-3. Northern Iowa lost last night to the Salukis. And we didn't get a chance to really go through the rest of that, Joe, but it's really hard to figure from one night to the next what's going to happen in this league.
Right. You know, every week there seems to be a team of the flavor of the week in this league, and it's different right now. It's the Salukis. They're on top 7-3 after 10 games, but here's how important this game is for the Braves. If Bradley should win tonight, they would be 6-4 in the league, and after 10 games, that would be 1 game out of first place with a game to be played yet with the Salukis. That's how important it is for them.
Boy, 5 or 6 losses could win the Valley this year very easily. Bradley 14-7, 5-4. Illinois State 11-9, 3-6. Jim Les, in his 5th season as head coach of the Braves, 76-67. He's 37-44 in Missouri Valley Conference play, 6-3 against the Illinois State Redbirds. Porter Moser, his 4th season, 47-60. John Higgins, David Warfelt, Brad Gaston are officials tonight. John Higgins, one of the officials involved in an automobile accident a few weeks ago in Normal, and he still looks a little tender out there, like he's still nursing some injuries.
Right, but he's worked games since then. Paul Gaston, by the way, was here Saturday night with the Wichita Bradley game.
Zach Andrews out jumps Levi Dyer. The Redbird announcers Sunday mentioning that the Redbirds haven't won a tip all season. The Redbirds start in man-to-man against the Braves, 10-1 here on their home floor this season. Alley-oop to Andrews! A set play off the opening tip for Jim Les. They worked on that today at shoot-around, and Zach Andrews gives Bradley a quick 2-0 lead.
Did the same thing in our last broadcast at Indiana State, except that was a one-handed jam.
Eldridge, the freshman out of Chicago, Phillips with it. He gives it to the veteran Dilligard at the top of the key, guarded by Zach Andrews. Dom Johnson, another one of the JUCO players. There's Levi Dyer. The give down low to Dilligard, the senior, off the glass and in from suburban St. Louis. Greg Dilligard averages 8.7 points a game and ties this ball game.
And the Redbirds showed pressure in the backcourt until Danny Ruffin crossed the midcourt line.
Another give inside to Andrews. Dilligard is there this time. Pull-up jumper from Sally from the elbow. Matt Sally averaging 8 points, 5 boards a game.
Well, he's going to load tonight, of course. We talked in the pregame about him guarding Levi Dyer, and that's going to be a task all itself. If he scores in double digits, he's going to have a man's work tonight.
Here's a great matchup. Richardson and Ruffin, the point guards, will be keeping an eye on that one tonight. Here's Dyer, double team. Tries to force it, Sally with the block, Dyer gets it back. 15 on the shot clock for the Redbirds. Boo Richardson for 3, it's in. Boo Richardson shooting 33% behind the arc. He's really picked up his scoring lately after a slow start. And it's 5-4 Redbirds.
And the Redbirds shoot as many three-pointers percentage-wise in their offense as the Braves do. 41% of their shots come from behind the arc. They just don't shoot it as well, so Bradley scores more.
Almost 2 minutes in, Redbirds with a 1-point lead. Twy drives and gives to Andrews. He's left alone again. Redbirds have lost him twice, and he will make them pay 21 points against Wichita on Saturday night.
Well, Andrews 8 of 9 from the field Saturday night against the Shockers, mostly from that range right there. If he gets the ball in that spot, he's not going to miss too many.
Redbirds move the ball quickly. Eldridge, the freshman, off the glass, gets his own rebound, misses again, and Sally grabs the board. A couple of good looks for Eldridge, but he couldn't finish. Braves a 1-point lead. Ruffin can't pick up the bounce pass. Now it's Franklin from 3. Number 61 on the year for Will Franklin. That leads the Missouri Valley Conference.
And that's 4 shots in out of 4 shots, right?
The Braves haven't missed.
2 from close range, 1 from behind the arc, and Sally's mid-range jumper. That's how the Braves started off Saturday night against the Shockers, just shooting so well.
Another miss for Illinois State down low. Ruffin gets it inside. Zach Andrews is having a night. He's got 6, and he's 3 for 3.
And the first substitution off the bench, Porter Moser's not liking what he's seeing early in this ball game.
We talked about Zach in the pregame. He has that ability. He tries to draw the charge, doesn't. Dilligard gets the bucket. That ends a 7-0 run by the Braves. Porter Moser says his team has to avoid the really big runs. Bradley went on a 22-2 run, something similar to that last year in the ball game here in Peoria, and Moser says we have to avoid those big kind of runs that Bradley can go on. Andrews mid-range jumper. That's the first miss for Bradley.
And the first bad shot.
Dyer can make those all night. That one rattles out.
Got a great touch for a big man out there. Boy, that's the first time I've seen him this year. He shoots it with confidence.
He is a leading candidate for comeback player of the year. Sally with the bank. It's open. 4 points for Sally. Bradley back up by 6. Roberto Fortes, Anthony Slack will check in for ISU. Dan Adams waiting for Bradley. Bradley with the steal. They lead the league in that category. Sally to the hoop. He's fouled and he'll go to the line.
That's the Braves in transition. I walked in with some people today from ISU, and I'll get to that point right after this break, Lee. Bradley up 15-7.
Matt Sally can make it a 9-point lead when we come back. Up and running. Only missed one shot. Another high percentage shot here from Matt Sally. Matt Sally played high school ball in Charlotte. Interesting, Joe. We saw Bobby Joe Mason, Lawrence Wright go from Peoria to Harlem. Matt Sally went from Harlem to Peoria. He's a New York native.
Absolutely.
Played high school ball in North Carolina. Played some junior college ball last year.
He has
at Monroe College back in New York.
He has really been a godsend. When we first recruited him, I thought, well, I guess there's 100 colleges on the East Coast that didn't think much of him. He's going to land in Peoria, but boy, he has really played well. I think he's going to be on the all-newcomer team in this league when all is said and done. Bradley in the zone.
Bradley goes 2-3 this time.
Dan Adams in the lineup as well.
Anthony Slack is number 4, a newcomer for the Redbirds. Roberto Fortes, number 1 in there too. Don Johnson for 3. The bounce is no good. Slack got a hand on it, but it rolls off, and here come the Braves trying to build on a 15-7 lead. Sally open down low, and the Redbirds post defense is woefully lacking.
No, it's good give and go. Looks like the Utah Jazz out there. Bradley's done that 3 times so far in 8 baskets.
Zach Andrews and Matt Sally now are a combined 7 for 8 from the floor.
The Braves are 8 of 9, and they have 8 assists on their 8 baskets.
There's Porter Moser, former Creighton Blue Jay, played for Tony Barone when Creighton won the Missouri Valley title in 1989.
Good 3-point shooter in his own right.
Couple of suburbanites here from the Chicago area. Porter Moser from Naperville. Jim Less, of course, from Niles. 2 on the shot clock. Slack off the rim. J.J. Twy the rebound. He averages almost 4 a game. 6 minutes gone in this contest. Braves led by 10.
His average is better since he broke his left hand.
Inside Sally again. The Redbirds' inside defense is non-existent, and Matt Sally has double figures in the first 6 minutes and 6 seconds of this game.
Well, it didn't take long for us to mention that, if he scores in double digits tonight, he's really had a yeoman's night because he's got a guy, Levi Dyer, and now he's already broken into that. Bradley playing awful well offensively. I thought Saturday night's first half was when they were their best of the second half of the season against the Shockers. So far, this has been better than that.
At the end of the game, Joe and I will pick the Heritage Bank player of the game. Heritage Bank of Central Illinois, locally owned and managed since 1920. The Braves 10-1 here at Carver Arena this year, 23-2 the last 2 seasons. That's a winning percentage of 92%. And here's another look. Some good passes inside. Will Franklin with the assist that time to Matt Sally, who has 10 points.
Yeah, it's not just the finishing, it's the making sure the recognition of the pass is coming. Everyone has caught the pass exactly where they wanted to with soft hands, laid it up, dunked, whatever. Good pressure by Bradley that time. And they've really started and finished the plays greatly.
Bradley a 12-point lead. It's a 15-2 run by the Braves, who trailed 5-4 earlier. Zach Andrews and Andrew Warren check in for Bradley after the change of possession. Franklin and Sally come off. Sally with 10 points already. Levi Dyer to check back in for Illinois State, along with Osiris Eldridge. Osiris, the Egyptian god of the dead.
It'll be interesting to see what matchup Bradley has defensively for Dyer now, because Sally is his first break out of the game. I'm guessing J.J. Twy.
Illinois State with some pressure. The Braves break it. Ruffin, little penetration, pull-up jumper is good, and Porter Moser so aware of what Daniel Ruffin can do with the penetration and score, or the penetration and kick.
Dominated the game last year, and the Redbirds only scored 44 points in this building.
Fortes with the reverse layup. His playing time's gone down of late. He averages 5 a game. That ends a 17-4 run by Bradley.
Redbirds now in the zone, trying to cut off the man-to-man penetration.
Boy, they have to do something to shore up that interior defense. Twy drives and kicks. Ruffin for 3. It's in! 38% three-point shooter, but he's really struggled the last 3 home games. 1 for 14 behind the arc. Good to see him hit his first one here tonight.
Well, that comes after his first made shot, and every time you make your first shot, you think the second one's going to be easier. He shot that one with a lot more confidence.
Andrew Warren, the freshman with the defense. The rebound goes to Slack, who hammers it home. Slack 10.5 points a game. He's the second leading scorer on this Redbird team.
I'll tell you what I like about Anthony Slack. He leads the team both in dunks and charges taken. You rarely find a big man that can do that.
Long and lean and very athletic. Rough and a tough athletic shot. 26-11 Braves. Eldridge tries to answer. It's short from three-point range, and here comes Bradley. Up 15 now, their biggest lead. Andrews, nice move in the jump hook. And the Braves can do no wrong down low, and Porter Moser has to take another timeout.
I think that's a Valley record. 3 in 8.5 minutes.
We'll keep it here. 28-11 Bradley, and the inside game it's a phenomenal. And Illinois State just can't stop Bradley inside.
Well, let me finish my thought before we went to one of the breaks during a timeout this half. I walked in the building tonight with a couple of radio guys from Illinois State, a longtime announcer, Dick Lutke, and he asked me, he says, how is Bradley 14-7 on the year with who they had coming back, who they lost? And I said, well, basically, they're a good shooting team, and they guard you from the locker room out. Now, it doesn't show and always in the percentages because they give up a lot of offensive rebounds and putbacks, and that's 50% on some of those possessions. I said, but they will guard you, they will pressure, they'll make you turn over, they'll get easy baskets, and they have good shooters. And boy, have we seen that so far in 8.5 minutes. They've just lit it up.
And to underscore it, they're doing it without their leading scorer.
Who?
Yeah, right. Jeremy Crouch, 16.5 points a game. He's getting close. He dressed for warm-ups again tonight in uniform. I would anticipate him maybe coming back a week from tonight.
Right. The Creighton game is unofficial welcome back tonight for Jeremy Crouch from Pekin.
17-point Bradley lead. Slack goes to work on Andrews. And that's just the second foul of the game. The first on Bradley will go against Zach Andrews, and we will be back after this timeout. You're looking at the largest crowd in Bradley history, 11,444. Number 1 all time. 14 more fans than saw Bradley play number 15 Illinois back in 1999. Here you get a look at Porter Moser, his 4th year, 47 and 60. 7th year overall, 101 and 94. And including a couple of seasons at Arkansas Little Rock. Jim Les, we mentioned, in his 5th season, 76 and 60, 76 and 3 against the Redbirds. Slack at the line, 63% free thrower, junior from New Orleans, hits the first.
As you know, Lee, there's a good look at Jim Les, who's reinvented the Braves this year. I have seen a few box scores in my life with my 2 careers here, but I've never seen one that had a team 13 of 14 from the field, 93% after almost 9 minutes of a game. That's what the Braves are, 13 out of 14 with 11 assists.
Well, in the first half Saturday night against Wichita State, Bradley did everything right, and they've repeated that performance almost to perfection here in the opening 9 minutes of this game. They turn it over that time.
Right, that's the first turnover of the night. They had scored on 13 of 14 possessions.
Julius Moore, another junior college transfer into the ball game for Illinois State, number 22. This will be the second foul on Zach Andrews, and he'll have to come out. Number 1, Bradley single game attendance all time here tonight. We mentioned earlier that the fire marshal had to cut off the standing room only seating.
Right, so we know he's in attendance.
Yes.
I'm not sure he has a seat, but he's here.
Standing room only tickets. There's no seating in standing room only, right?
Right.
28-12, 11 minutes and a couple of ticks to go here in the first half. Levi Dyer has not scored. Bradley's done a nice job, but this is an interesting matchup. Twy guards him. JJ gives up about 8 inches height-wise. Eldridge, the freshman to the glass. Osiris Eldridge averaging almost 9 points a game. He was recruited by Bradley.
He went right by Danny Adams, and he didn't get help.
His first basket. Illinois State with the defense. And it's Slack at the other end, and now Jim Les has to call timeout. When you look at Dom Johnson, it's almost like you're looking at Philip Gilbert. Number 10 for Illinois State just looks almost like a mirror image of Philip Gilbert with the cornrows.
Well, you'll talk to Illinois State backers and boosters and people who really know the program, and they say that this is the most athletic team that they put on the floor in the last 5 or 6 years. And when that athleticism starts combining with the gelling of the team-wise, they're going to be pretty dangerous.
Time now for Tonight in the Valley, brought to you by Heritage Buick Mazda GMC. We love selling cars at Heritage. Evansville has defeated Indiana State 50-49. Creighton's at Missouri State. Blue Jays lead that one 29-27 at the half. Drake at Wichita. Shockers up 35-30 at the break there. And we mentioned last night it was Southern Illinois over Northern Iowa, 56-54. Here, it's been an impressive start by the Braves, 28-16. The Redbirds trying to chip into that lead just a little bit here as they've gone on a little 5-0 run.
Well, it was 21-7. Bradley had tripled them. They're in striking distance now. The Redbirds are playing better. Back to man-to-man now, though.
Adams, Franklin, Sally, Ruffin, and Twy for the Braves, rather. Baseline to baseline pass. Now it's Ruffin. 13 on the shot clock. Twy eyes the 3. It's short. And Boo Richardson chases down the rebound. The junior from Kansas City by way of Coffeyville Junior College. Led his team to the national tournament last year. A teammate of Anthony Slack at Coffeyville. 9:45 left first half. 28-16 Braves. Sally reaches in and is whistled for the foul and now gets a technical.
Well, that's a foul every time. I mean, any time you reach over the shoulder and try to knock a pass coming into the post away, that's probably going to be a foul. See, he went right through him.
And the technical goes against Anthony Slack.
Oh.
A little taunting after the foul.
It is Bradley ISU.
Didn't take him long to get into the spirit of things, did it?
Actually, that's pretty bad because he gets a personal foul for that, and it sort of breaks the momentum and gives Bradley a couple of easy shots at the free throw line. Ruffin already making one. The Redbirds had built up a low momentum.
John Higgins explaining the call to Porter Moser as Ruffin makes the second free throw. And the The Braves back up by 14, and they'll have the ball as Slack comes out, replaced by Levi Dyer, who played for Washington High School coach Kevin Brown in Eaton, Colorado.
Actually, Redbirds will keep the ball and score.
Dyer with his first bucket. Redbirds back within 12 now. Ruffin nowhere to go, and Adams helps him out that time. 14 on the shot clock. Bradley not able to get anything going here offensively. The shot clock winding down, and there's Will Franklin again. He's now 8th on Bradley's single-season three-point list, passing Anthony Manuel and Rob Dye. Dilligard goes around Sally for the jam. So the Redbirds answer with an inside bucket of their own.
Sally a little defenseless there, trying not to pick up a foul. Andrews already on the bench with 2.
13-point Bradley lead. Ruffin, 3. Ruffin's got 12. Second 3 of the game for Ruffin.
Bradley's going to set a record here with a couple more, I believe. They were close to the single-season mark.
Dilligard fouled by Adams, a mismatch in favor of the Redbirds. Dilligard will go to the line. Bradley needs 7 threes to break the single-season record.
That's 4 tonight, I believe. 2 from each guard.
That's 221. I guess 222. They need 3 more to break the record of 224, which was set during Percy Hawkins' senior year, 87-88. Dilligard misses the free throw.
Which is not news. Dilly 40% from the line this year, and has never been stellar from the charity stripe.
Dom Johnson comes out.
Unless things go south in a hurry, Lee, Bradley's going to score 50 points in this half.
They were pretty close to that Saturday night, weren't they?
Over 40. Right.
Dilligard bounces the second one in. He's got 7. Braves lead is 15.
Of course, when you talk about block shots, then Dilligard, he's number 1 on the list at Illinois State in a couple of categories. Been a good, solid player for them.
Ruffin tries to drive. He's fouled by Boo Richardson. That's his first.
3rd on the team.
Check
Bradley has 4.
Check that, 2 on Richardson. Bradley scored 44 points Saturday night in their win over Wichita State. Julius Moore comes back in for Richardson, who sits with 2 personals. Bradley inbounds the ball with a 15-point lead, 8:07 to play. Wise open in the corner. It's a 3, and it's good. J.J. Twy with the 3. That's 5 threes tonight for the Braves.
And all the red threes go up in the crowd. Amongst the people who are also holding towels or wearing T-shirts.
18-point Bradley lead is their biggest of the ball game. 39-21, 7:44 to go here first half. Former Peoria Mayor Jim Maloof in the red, making his first appearance at Carver Arena since his automobile accident late last year. God bless him. Good to see him back in the crowd here tonight with Mike McCoy, who had similar accident problems a year ago. God bless them both, and good to see them here tonight. The rebound battle, Joe, even. Bradley getting beaten on the boards all year this year, but it's 7-7 so far.
Right, and Bradley amongst the worst teams in the Valley rebounding, getting out-rebounded by 6 a game. The Redbirds are even all year long, so that's an advantage that we thought Illinois State would have coming into this game. But if you make all your shots, then there's no rebounds to get, and that's what Bradley has done. 16 of 19 so far, 5 of 7 from behind the arc.
Redbirds trail by 18 now, biggest Bradley lead of the game. Redbirds made a little bit of a run there. Got it down to 12, but Bradley's answered, and they zone this time. Moore, one of the junior college transfers, nowhere to go. 2 on the shot clock. Eldridge with 1, and they didn't see it. Banked it in, but it's no good.
And no argument from anyone either. That's what happens when you change defenses. You go into something that they don't expect. Takes them a little while to get used to it, and before you know it, you're under 10.
And this ISU team is slowly starting to turn the corner and gel. I mean, when you bring in that many new players, it takes a while. They're starting to do some of that, but this is the next step for them, playing well and winning a game on the road.
Right. They're playing with a lot more confidence and shooting with a lot more confidence at home. But the road is a different animal altogether.
Andrews was open, but they didn't get it to him in time. J.J. Twy off the glass, the senior out of Verona, Missouri. He's got 5.
J.J. always seems to make one shot a game with a degree of difficulty is about 9-9 on a scale of 10. And that was it.
We'll sit down with J.J. this week on the Jim Les Show Sunday morning at 10 right here on WEDK. J.J. with another rebound.
Dyer with a bad shot.
Danny Adams misses the layup in transition. Too close, Danny.
Absolutely.
Dilligard, charge. No! Blocking foul on Twy.
If you show the replay, I think you'll see that he turned. He didn't take it straight on.
Toughest call in basketball, and J.J. was not positioned properly. Good call.
Yeah, if he takes a knee in the chest, which is easier said than done, it's a charge, but he turned a little bit at the end. Second time Dilligard has been sent to the line on a layup.
Yeah, you got to have some courage to stand in there and take that.
Absolutely. And JJ is all about courage. I mean, he broke his hand against Missouri State, and he's been at least as good or better since then. I mean, he's just playing like a warrior. Rebounding, steals, he handles it. And if you didn't know he had a broken hand, you wouldn't see much difference, in the way he plays the game.
Shooting 50% in those 7 games since he broke the bone in his left hand. Dilligard, 17 points, 11 rebounds in Illinois State's win at St. John's earlier this year, which was a pretty impressive win, I thought, at the time, but it gets even better because they beat number 22 Notre Dame last night. Richardson for 3. Off the mark, Dilligard rebound, number 1 offensive rebounder in the Missouri Valley Conference. Actually, he's 3rd. He scores on at that time. Make it 41-23. Dilligard with 9. Illinois State gets a defender back that time. Andrews, nice pass to J.J. Twy. Gives Zach Andrews the assist. They're all holding up 3, but they ought to give Zach a 10 on that pass.
It looked like the Globetrotters. That's our second mention, but that's what it looked like. Over the head, over the shoulder to the corner.
Cortez nowhere to go. Now the Braves defense jams up Dilligard. Johnson, the lefty with the 3-pointer, no good. Slack, offensive rebound. Foul from behind by J.J. Twy. That'll be his 2nd.
That's the Achilles heel of Bradley, of course. We've talked about it. The rebounding, especially with one of their 2 big guys on the bench, is really suspect. But get a lot of credit for Anthony Slack. I mean, he's a man under there. I'm impressed. I've seen him less than a half, and he's a good player in this league.
Bounces it in. He's a 6'7 junior from New Orleans. Played at Coffeyville, we mentioned, with Boo Richardson, as Matt Sally comes in for J.J. Twy. Anthony Slack played at Coffeyville, made the junior college all-tournament team, 21.5 points, 11 rebounds a game in that tournament, as Coffeyville finished 7th in the nation.
The Valley's had a plethora of good junior college players over the years, and he has added to the list.
There's a couple right there. Will Franklin coming off the screen by Zach Andrews. Rolls to the bucket, but Slack is there this time. Pick and roll was working for him Saturday night against Wichita State. There it is again. Now another good pass from Zach. Sally's fouled on the way to the hoop as he tried to give it up down low. Fouls on Dilligard. His first 4th team on ISU.
Bradley is handling the ball tonight like it's ticking, as if no one wants to end up with it. Watch this. 1, touch pass 2, 3, right after the foul.
Andrew Warren, the freshman from Indianapolis, with the inbounds to Will Franklin. Talk about a junior college guy who's come in and made an impact. Will Franklin. Daniel Ruffin.
I got him
14.
5 for 5. That's what I have him for.
He's got 14 coming off a 17-point game Saturday. Dilligard, nice move underneath. He's having a big offensive night. 11 here in the first half for Greg Dilligard.
A lot of nice moves around the basket. He's one that definitely voted for Patrick O'Brien to go pro.
He was on the most improved team a year ago in the Valley. Zach Andrews can't get the reverse layup. 4:10 to go here first half. It's Braves by 20. Johnson tries to penetrate and give down low, but turns it over. Eldridge back in for ISU. Twy in for Andrews for Bradley. And here comes Mike Vandelo in for the Redbirds, number 31. He's a sophomore from Bettendorf, Iowa.
Got his taste of the rivalry last year, had to play a lot of minutes. This Redbird team has really turned itself over, ability-wise, athletic-wise, and as we mentioned, it takes a little growing up to learn how to win on the road. This is not a good place to learn it right here. Bradley's played so well here over the last 2 years. But this team is jelly. I mean, you don't score 80 points, 80-plus points in 2 home games against Valley competition and not improve.
Mike Vandelo the foul. Bradley the 20-point lead with 3. We are back, 46-26 the Bradley lead. As we look at the ISU huddle, we've talked about how Porter Moser has had to regroup and really do a complete makeover on this team. 5 new members of the flock for Illinois State this year, and that's not easy to do.
No, and the difference is, they're picked 9th in the Valley preseason, and the Braves, because of all their losses, were picked 8th. But you look at the way Bradley is playing and how they remade themselves with the 3-point shot, they've gone the right direction. Credit to the coaching staff and everyone who's prepared this team for tonight and these other games, because it's just like a different team. They have really retooled. Illinois State's progress is just going to come slower because of what they had to do.
It's like a little matchup zone. This time Ruffin, an athletic but tough shot, and Bobby Hill, our first look at him, the freshman from St. Louis, with the rebound, and now the foul on Daniel Ruffin. It'll be a 1-and-1 for the Redbirds. Well, and the thing, I talked to Porter Moser about this earlier this year. You're trying to rebuild in the Missouri Valley Conference. It's as tough as it's been in forever.
It's a bad time to do it right now. I mean, this league is 5th, 4th in the RPI, depending on what day of the week it is. You got all 10 teams, in the top half of the RPI. You got 5, 6 teams in the top 50, depending on what happens that night. It's just incredible. Now, we got a final already. Evansville won at Indiana State. 2 weeks ago, Indiana State was unbeaten at home. Now teams are catching up to them and passing them in the standings. Evansville, 5-5 now in the league. Definitely in the chase.
Well, and every team, you look at the Valley standings, every team has a winning record.
Right. Only the Valley and the SEC can say that at this time of year.
Eldridge makes the first and makes the second. 18-point Bradley lead with 3:35 here to go in the first half. Ruffin, so quick with the basketball. Nothing that time for Bradley. Still at 2-3. Looks like a matchup. Eldridge with the steal. Pull-up jumper, good for the freshman from Chicago, Phillips. Averaged 25 points a game for Phillips last year and was all city in Chicago.
That's only the 3rd turnover for the Braves in this game.
Off the mark that time for J.J. Twy. Redbirds on the move. Hill from St. Louis, Vachon with the miss. Under 3 minutes to go now, first half. Franklin, the transition 3 in there. Will Franklin averaging 15.5 points a game.
When you play Bradley, you not only have to stop the ball on the fast break, you've got to match up with their spotting shooters, and that's difficult to do.
And that breaks Bradley's single-season record of 224. The most prolific three-point shooting team in Bradley history, and you're looking at them. 49-30, Bradley.
And how many games do we have left to go?
Well, the Valley record is in danger.
The Valley record's going to be broken.
Breaking both the Valley record as J.J. Twice scores the layup. He's in double figures with 10, and Bradley's over the 50-point mark with 2 minutes to go in the first half.
I know Porter Mosier, talking about this game, did not want to get in a run and shoot with the Braves on their home court, but that is what he has found himself in, and that's not a good position, and he knows it.
21-point Bradley lead.
This is not a good pace game for Levi Dyer. He is 1 of 5 from the field in this first half.
Dom Johnson, tough shot. Sally the rebound. And the Redbirds get it back.
There's that man Slack again. Good steal. Braves back in the zone, 2-3.
Newcomer of the week in the Valley. Dyer the player of the week, but he's having a tough night here tonight.
1 of 6 now.
Franklin again. Good again. Will Franklin with his 4th 3 of the ball game. And Porter Moser left with no other choice but to call timeout as his team falls behind by 24.
And they got Illinois State with 2 timeouts left. I thought he had already called 3 in this ball game. The scoreboard has them with 2 left after this one here. No matter, I'm not sure that he's going to need him at the end of the game if things progress as they are progressing right now. Illinois State is giving Bradley just too many wide open shots, either on the break or in the offense.
The Braves have scored inside early. They've scored outside. 8 3-pointers on the ball game.
We got to start looking at other records now. I mean, 8 in the first half. I doubt that they could do that in the second half. Sam's singing the game, by the way, but you never say never. Nights like this is when how records are made.
The single game record is 20, set this year by Bradley against Florida A&M. That was the night Danny Adams came in and hit 8 himself.
Right, but that team played mostly zone and really didn't care. Illinois State will play a variety of defenses before this game is over.
We approach the 1-minute mark, 54-30. The Bradley lead is 24. Vandalo can't handle the fastball. It should be Bradley ball. No, they say Bradley touched it.
Yeah, it went off a couple of hands, but Singh was the last one to hit it.
1,500 students here tonight, and they are loud and proud near us, along with the band. That's a student attendance record as well as the 11,444. Eldridge, tough shot, doesn't go.
Good rebound by Sam Singh, and the outlet to Ruffin. Braves back in business.
You know, that really is a full house, 11,444. 4s over aces. Here's Franklin, no good.
Just didn't catch it correctly.
Cortez to Dyer. That was blocked. Daniel Ruffin blocked Levi Dyer. Ruffin the miss. Loose ball, jump ball. It'll be Illinois State on the possession arrow.
That means Bradley will get it at the start of both halves.
Boy, for the second game in a row, Bradley has just come out and throttled the visitors in the first half. 44 points against Wichita, 54 here tonight in the opening 20 minutes against Illinois State. Vandalo bounces off a couple of players, look like a pinball in there, scores at the buzzer, and it's 54-32 at the break. All Bradley in this first half. And that's putting it mildly.
The Braves have won the last 4 games in this series in this building by an average of 19 points. So the Redbirds haven't had a lot of success here lately. This is just getting to be one of those games. And I know they want to stop it, and they're trying to do with different personnel. But when Bradley plays like this, you better bring your A game if you want to beat him here.
A sellout crowd, very pro-Bradley, and they like what's going on here tonight. 54-32 our score at halftime. Back at Carver Arena right after this.
And here's the statistics that you could see. Bradley shot 71%, as we had mentioned, 22 of 31. Redbirds 13 of 31, 42%. Bradley on fire from deep, 8 of 12. The Redbirds only 1 of 8. Not too many free throws shot. Rebounding, Bradley even had the advantage there, 16-15. Turnovers low by both teams. Well, 4 out of the 5 starters, and only the starters scored. Absolutely. He had the bullseye on his back tonight. He's 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 2 from behind the arc. Did not shoot a free throw, did not have an assist, 14 minutes, very little to show for it. And as we mentioned in the open, if Illinois State was going to have a chance here tonight, he had to have another big game, and Bradley has made him their focus.
The challenge for Bradley now, they played a great first half Saturday night. Wichita State, a good team that's not playing that well right now, got back into that game. Now, if you're Bradley, can you, pardon the hunting term, but put your foot on the goose's neck here and put him down?
Absolutely. And there they go right back inside for Andrews. And getting the first points of the half is a good way to start, because you just don't want that door to open with the visitors when you've got your foot on the neck.
Zach Andrews in double figures for the 3rd time in the last 4 games with 10 points. Levi Dyer having a tough go of it here tonight. Dilligard down low. Dilligard with 13.
Illinois State will have to make this a game in the first 5 minutes or so. Give themselves a shot. They go to the zone. Try to slow up the Braves a bit.
Three is off the mark for Franklin. Creighton leads Missouri State 48-45 with 8:37 to go in the second. Wichita leads Drake 48-41 with 15:50 to go in the second. And Evansville already won at Indiana State tonight, 50-49.
There's a foul on Franklin there as they get the ball to Dyer down low for really the first time all evening. But in 2 straight possessions, the Redbirds have gone down low. Similar to what Wichita State did Saturday night, found themselves in a big deficit. They just pounded the ball inside and went hard to the boards.
And Levi Dyer just can't find it tonight. He's a 76% free thrower, and that didn't go for him. 6'11" junior makes the second, just his 3rd point of the night. 56-35, Bradley's biggest lead has been 24.
The Redbirds show pressure in the backcourt and fall back to the 2-3 zone.
Now they look to be man-to-man this trip, although they look like they're matching up out of that 2-3 as Sally's shot is off the mark. All 5 starters in double figures now for the Braves. Dyer battles with Sally, and the foul goes against Matt Sally.
Well, they were really battling under there, and Matt Sally got the worst of the call. It could have gone either way.
I remember when basketball was a non-contact sport.
Yeah, that was in CYO. See, they're going right back at it again in the post play.
And now the call goes against Will Franklin.
Well, there were 12 personal fouls called total in the first half. And now there's 3 already on Bradley in under 2 minutes of the second. I don't want to see this game called 2 different ways.
And then the question is, do officials go in at halftime and say, hey, we got to clean things up? Do they call? Would they do that?
Well, that's the rumor. And it seemed that way Saturday night.
Illinois State throws it away, and now Jim West being warned.
Dave Warfeld in a discussion with Jimmy.
Not pleased to see 3 quick whistles on his team to open the second half. Franklin floater, bounces in and out.
Bradley has taken 3 tough shots the last 3 times down the court and missed them all.
Dilligard looks for Dyer inside. Well, now he's battling with Zach Andrews down low. Zach with 2 fouls. Now he switches off and has Dilligard. Dilligard leading the way for the Redbirds with 13. Andrews gets a hand on it, and Ruffin takes it away. Deflection's a big part of the Bradley offense. They lead the league in steals, but they try and get 20 deflections a half, try to get the hand on the ball. Gets inside to Andrews. Richardson not wearing the headband here in the second half. He got a hand on it, and the Redbirds get the turnover. Eldridge drives and turns it over at the other end.
Good defensive play.
Zach Andrews. Oh, he got it to go down. He almost didn't get over the rim with it. It goes, and he'll go to the line.
That's because he was hit.
Fouls on Dilligard.
Good defensive play that time by Twy, not allowing a dribble penetration as we see Zach Andrews catch it and finish. And then the deflection as he made Illinois State drive into traffic, and I wanted to see that defensive play as well. We'll get that another time.
Zach Andrews 53% at the line. He's picked it up a little bit lately, 60% from the line in his last 5 games after starting 2 of 11 first 2 games of the season. He completes the 3-point play. He's got 13.
That will settle everybody in now. It's a ball game in the second half. Each team has scored twice.
59-35, and the whistle goes against the Redbirds this time. It'll be Bradley ball.
Threw it right out of bounds, and Danny Adams was too slow, couldn't touch it. So it went out of bounds.
He's the only Brave wearing white shoes. All the other Braves have gone to black shoes and black socks tonight. Will Franklin, wide open 3 is short. Here comes Drew Richardson, one-man fast break. Takes it all the way. He averages 11 a game. Just his second bucket of the night. And the largest crowd in Bradley history is awfully quiet right now, even though they lead by 22. Ruffin looks to create something. Inside to Andrews, back out. Danny Adams, 3 is off the mark. Sack with a couple of flashy passes, and now Ruffin with the steal. Leads the league in steals at 2 a game. Redbirds knock it out of bounds, and we'll go to a timeout with Bradley leading. Profile sponsored by Casey's General Stores, a convenience store, and a whole lot more. Senior Will Franklin is from Houston, Texas. He's a sociology major. Loves and misses that southern cooking. Says he'd like to have X-ray vision. His nickname's Will the Thrill and Willie Beaming, and claims he can sing. He is a real character. And there's another character, Pete Van Aken and son Rocky, at the ball game here tonight, along with an announced crowd of 11,444, the biggest crowd in Bradley history here tonight. Anthony Slack back in for Illinois State. Number 4, Twy, penetrates and throws it away. Danny Adams in there for for Bradley as well. Franklin, Adams, Twy, Ruffin, and Andrews for the Braves. Slack, Fortes, Richardson, Johnson, and Dilligard for the Redbirds. Johnson's 3 misses. Twy mistimed the jump, but Bradley gets the rebound. Franklin brings it down. He's now hit double figures 14 straight games as Will Franklin, and the only game all season he hasn't scored in double figures was at Michigan State. Trying to go inside again. Redbirds doing a better job defensively on the interior.
They had to.
Could have done much worse in that first half. Dilligard with the bucket. He's got 15.
Dilligard has been all Bradley has thought he was going to be. He's had his way inside. Been a big player in his Missouri Valley Conference career.
He had a string of 79 starts in a row that ended earlier this year at Creighton. He's been battling a sprained left foot. J.J. Twy with a broken left hand misses the 3.
Bradley just 2 of 8 from the field in this half with baskets by Andrews.
Slack, nice give to Dilligard. Good post-to-post pass, and Dilligard has 17. And Bradley calls timeout as the lead is cut to 18. Jim Les doesn't like things that are going on defensively here as we start the second half, and we'll be right back to talk about it more. 59-41 Bradley. Illinois State with 6 points here in the second half from Greg Dilligard, who hasn't missed a shot tonight.
No, the big guy's 8 for 8. We've been singing his praises, and that's the reason why. They've all come from within 3 feet, but that's when he's most dangerous. Meanwhile, the little guy on the court, Daniel Ruffin, kudos to him. He has 9 assists tonight, Lee, and that puts him over the 400 mark for his career. He is the 8th Bradley player to get at least 400 assists, and he moved past those great passers, Hersey Hawkins and Bobby Humbles, tonight on the all-time Bradley list.
I know Bobby Humbles is a great passer. I didn't know Hersey ever passed.
The little-known fact that he had 400 assists in his career.
Will Franklin for 3. Ruffin gets the rebound, bounces no good. Vandalo can't hang on. Twy right there and cleans up the garbage. You talk about Greg Dilligard as a freshman. He shot 67.9% from the floor for Illinois State. No basket.
Foul on Twy.
This whistle goes against J.J. Twy, who just scored his 12th point of the night, to put Bradley back up by 20.
Well, the halftime lead was 22, so we're about 6 minutes plus in, and that's not enough for Illinois State to really make a run.
Vandalo goes deep to Richardson. The crowd wanted an over and back. It's off Vandalo. It'll be Bradley ball.
That's the difference between a major college official and the guys who officiate Washington middle school games over in Washington for Steve Strickler. They don't know the rule. John Higgins does. It could not have been over and back because you have to have 3 parts go over both feet and the ball, and that didn't happen.
Illinois State with the pressure. Bradley gets it across easily. They lead it by 20. Crowd wanted to foul on Dilligard. Franklin opens for 3. Rattles in and out. Good shot. Good look at it. Eldridge and the Redbirds on the run, and Franklin whistled for the reach. And that is his 3rd 6th-team foul on the Braves. Check that, 5 team fouls on Bradley here in the second half. 1 for Illinois State.
And a quick 5, actually. That's the only other way that the Redbirds can really help. And there's Richardson letting the ball go all the way to the backcourt before getting it. And now a technical on Jim Less regarding the foul situation. And Dave Warfeld was the one who gave it to him, and he's the one that's been in Jimmy's ear all night.
Well, as an observer, you see this a lot. Bradley, you talk about fouls, and you don't see the home teams suffer this kind of deficit often. I'll just leave it at that. You see it here a lot, but you don't see it a lot on the road.
The other night at the Evansville, Missouri State game, the Aces beat the Bears, shot 30 free throws, the Bears shot 9. And as a visiting coach, you say, okay, that's life on the road, but it hardly ever happens the other way. We've seen it here more than once. And I know the Braves shoot a lot of three-pointers, and you don't get fouled a lot doing that. But in their defense, the other team plays just as good as defense.
It's still an 18-point Bradley lead, and not sure how many technicals that is on Jim this year. He had one at Indiana State the last time we did a game together.
Yes, and he had another one here at home, I think, in a game that wasn't close. I think he's had 3 since the New Year. He doesn't get a second one this game. He can coach Saturday night in Springfield.
Inbounds the slack, can't hang on. Here come the Braves. Ruffin baseline jumper. So tough. 10th in the league in scoring at 14 a game. Daniel Ruffin now has 16.
Could get a double-double with points and assists tonight.
Slack loses control. Danny Adams fighting for it.
That's a timeout.
Well, he came over. He came over and started flashing numbers. I thought he was calling a foul.
Well, he was calling the timeout. Or who called
Sally
the timeout?
called the timeout.
Right. Danny Adams called the timeout.
He flashed 22. Porter Moser wondered why he didn't get a jump ball call.
Both teams have 2 timeouts left. Now the scorers table is going to ask about it. Yeah, it's a Bradley timeout.
(63-43) our score. Bradley's led by as many as 24. They went on a 17-4 run early, and it's been all Bradley ever since. Inside buckets early came like water out of a tap. They were so easy, and then Bradley able to knock in some threes. They haven't hit a 3 here in the second half. They hit 8 in the first half to break the old record of 224 set by the Hersey Hawkins Braves of 1988.
And nationally ranked Braves. Missouri Valley Conference champion Braves.
Went to the NCAA tournament that year. Lost to Auburn, is that right?
To Auburn, 90-86 in Atlanta. And that was only the second year of the three-point shot in college basketball, so it was a real nuance at the time. To see how far ahead of the time they were, that team was. Trevor Trimpe in the house tonight was one of those guys who could really fill it up out there.
Fouls on Mike Vandelo, and they get the Bronx cheer here from the Carver Arena crowd as we go to a break, and Bradley leading by 20.
Right. And the league is tougher now, so it's hard to find some place to go in.
DA for 3, Dan Adams. His first bucket of the ball game, his 41st 3 of the year.
First points by a reserve tonight. Between Andrew Warren, Adams, and Sam Singh, they were 0 for 1 from the field in the first half, and that was Adams' wide open layup that he missed.
So much for the importance of bench scoring. Eldridge 3 is off the mark. Sally had it. Warren comes up with it. Trapped in the corner, gets it to Ruffin. The junior from Central is fouled by Osiris Eldridge, the freshman. You know, we talked to both coaches about the Bradley ISU rivalry now, and it's not as, to use a Dick Versace word, as vitriolic as it was when Coach Versace was here and Bob Donewald was at ISU. You like that word, don't you?
Yes.
But when you talk to them about the rivalry, the one thing they'll both mention is that recruiting. They're both in the same recruiting circles. Osiris Eldridge is a guy that both teams recruited. Both teams are trying to get Washington's Matt Roth to sign, and that's where the rivalry really comes to life in the eyes of these two coaches.
Right. You know, and because that's it. They both recruit Chicago. They both recruit Central Illinois, the Mid-State Illini Conference, things like that. And so every edge they can get, if you can walk into a recruit's house and say, you know, you can go there, but we beat them 7 out of 9, and if you want to lose twice a year, then it's up to you. You're going to get a good education both places, blah, blah, blah. But yes, it is an edge when you're having some success in this series.
Brandon Holtz, sophomore from Bloomington, checks in for the first time tonight. Bradley leads this all-time series 57-45 as Adams misses the 3. Bradley's won 6 of the last 8, including 3 in a row. This will be 4 in a row here tonight. Dyer, little 8-footer, is good.
First shot he's taken in a while without pressure.
Well, and that's the thing Bradley wanted to do on him, was really get up into his body and make him uncomfortable, and he has been uncomfortable when he's gotten a shot at all.
Well, for 30 minutes Saturday night, they did just as good a job on Kyle Wilson of Wichita State, their leading scorer.
Back inside to Andrews. He'll go to the line. There's some sharp passing from the Braves here tonight.
This is a passing team. You know, people talk to me about, well, what if Patrick O'Brien was still here? What kind of success would they have? It wouldn't be the same team whatsoever. I mean, this is a guard-oriented, fast-paced team that presses and shoots a three. We wouldn't be shooting nearly as many three-pointers if Patrick O'Brien was in the middle of this offense. Everything would have been changed if he was still here.
Instead, Patrick is drawing a very large salary in Bakersfield.
Absolutely. The check's still cash.
You wonder, though, if he thinks sometimes, maybe not on payday.
No, not, like I said, the check's still cash.
Zach Andrews with 15, and it's a 23-point Bradley lead again. Brandon Holtz with a lift off the bench for Illinois State. Only averaging 2.6 points a game, has not seen much playing time lately. Warren inside the three-point line. The freshman from Indy with his first basket tonight.
He's had a big week. Bucket here in the rivalry game, and the Colts won.
An engaging young man. If you get a chance to talk to him, he's got an overload of personality. Great young man to talk to, and got a lot of talent and great future ahead of him here at Bradley. Franklin checks in for Ruffin.
His minutes lately have been really gone by how much production he has given. He had a big game at Drake, didn't play a lot against Southern here, played a lot of minutes at Indiana State, didn't play a lot at Creighton. It's almost like matchups. I mean, if he fits in the flow and he can use his athleticism against a team like this, he's going to play more minutes, feel more comfortable. There's some teams in the Valley right now that just overwhelm him.
Mandelo with the make and the miss. 70-49. And it's just so worked out that he's only played 14 minutes the last two home games, and then on the last four road games, been 19 minutes a game. It just worked out that those matchups were such that Andrew fit into the flow of the game.
Right.
Sally, ill-advised shot, but he keeps it alive, and Andrews gets the bucket. He's got 17.
It's been a frustrating night for Porter Mosier because just hardly anything has gone right in his game plan. Bradley is even rebounding 1-for-1 with the Redbirds.
Franklin the steal. Little willpower for Bradley. Franklin now with 14. And it's a 25-point Bradley lead, right? That's the biggest of the night. Eldridge the rebound. Andrews taps it to himself. He's approaching a double-double. Oh, he's not. That was picked at Matt Sally. Matt Sally had 6 rebounds at the last break. Zach has been quiet on the glass.
Well, there just haven't been a lot of offensive rebounds to get, and that's how you get your double-doubles. You get on the offensive glass. The line change walks past us here for the Birds.
Andrews with 19. And it's a 27-point Bradley lead. The war on 74, the I-74 rivalry has been more like roadkill here tonight.
Trying to go one-on-one with Zach that time. Vandelo came in second place.
Sally with the pick out near the Y in Bradley. Adams, long three.
Crowd was ready to explode on that one.
He had 15 in the win over Wichita. Johnson, then Dyer with the follow. He's got 7.
Almost a minute past the media timeout here. There's a foul that will stop it. And we'll have a lot of substitutions coming in, including Sam Singh.
Zach Andrews. He's got a game-high 19, and boy, the magic number for Zach this season, Joe, 17 minutes. 17 minutes or less. When he's been in foul trouble, he only averages a little over 5 a game. When he stays in the game, course, he scores more. It seems simple, but it's not always the case for Zach if he can stay out of that foul trouble. And, you know, one thing Jim Les will tell you about Zach is sometimes, you know, the coaches prepare the teams well with scouting reports and things like that. Sometimes Zach has gotten caught up in thinking too much. And trying to think about, well, what does the coach want me to do? You know, how am I supposed to play this guy? And the guy's by him and scored rather than just reacting naturally and playing good defense.
You can do that in any sport. And, you know, our friend Tony Baroni, who's now coaching the Memphis Grizzlies as the interim head coach, that's the first thing he said when he took over the team. We're just going to have our players play basketball and not think so much in the sense they have to run.
Cortez tries to answer the Franklin three. Will Franklin now with 17. He averages 15 and a half a game, 5th in the league in scoring. Singh. Porter Moser wanted to travel. Twy wants a 3.
Porter Moser wanted to call in the worst way. We're beyond that.
Cortez, foul on Singh. Every Brave that's played has a foul. 18 fouls now on Bradley, 6 on the Redbirds, so that's a little more even than it was earlier when it was 6-1.
We have a developing story here, though, Lee.
That's right.
As we mentioned, that Greg Dilligard is 8 for 8 from the field in this game. The record for Carver Arena for an opponent is 7 for 7, and it's held by that man right there, Porter Moser, when he was with Creighton.
Should we tell him?
If we do, he'll definitely put him back in the game.
Go ahead and shoot
a 3, or he's in the game.
Bounce pass to Warren, and he's fouled by Fortes at the other end.
That's an amazing coincidence when you think about it. I mean, what are the odds that a coach would come in here holding a record and have his player better it? The 2 different teams at 2 different eras.
Yeah, I mean, both of these coaches have played for Tony Baroni. Tony Baroni's son is on the ISU bench as assistant coach Brian Baroni.
Yep. A small world.
Hate to paint it.
Got to be careful who you talk about.
Andrew Warren at the line. Scoreless in 3 of his last 4 since scoring 11 at Drake and hitting some big shots in Des Moines. Makes both free throws. Bradley's lead is 29.
Road teams will go 2-2 in the Valley tonight. As Evansville won at Indiana State, Creighton has won at Missouri State. Wichita by 5 over the Drake Bulldogs in the Roundhouse. Bradley will win here tonight. So on the week, these 2 days, 3 out of 5 for the home teams in the league. And again, the standings will jumble and we'll talk about that.
Slack with the free throw. Second in the league from the field, shooting 62%, and he makes both free throws.
Not bad shooting into the sea of dots.
He's a good candidate for newcomer of the year right now. Top 10 in blocks and steals, number 8 in rebounding, 2nd in field goal percentage. Jim Les has done a good job of that too, Joe, bringing in junior college guys who've had an impact. You talk about Lawrence Wright, and Will Franklin, and Zach Andrews, Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett, don't forget him.
Right. Never forget Tony Bennett.
Yeah. There was a discussion lately amongst fans on who really is the better player, Tony Bennett or Will Franklin now in their senior years, and they're a little bit differently. I mean, Will handles the ball a lot more on the point. But boy, you would hate to think of Bradley's fortunes the last 2 years without either one.
Both fiery competitors. Tony maybe even a little bit more so than Will Franklin, but this guy has come in and just done an outstanding job here in 1 season plus.
Yeah, I mentioned in Terre Haute in the Open that he could start for any Valley team today. I mean, that's saying something to have a guard that can do that.
Sam Singh threw a shoe.
Good thing he's not a horse.
He's a big hoss. A big hoss. 6'9", 266 from Ozark, Missouri.
Wearing a knee brace just as Jeremy Crouch was in pregame warm-ups on his right knee. Looking for Jeremy to possibly rejoin the team a week from tonight, right here in this building against the Blue Jays.
Dyer for three, his first three of the game. Puts him in double figures. 16 and a half points per game in his 10 starts. Well, we saw Jeremy Crouch working out today at Robertson Fieldhouse, and he was running full court sprints and running full speed. So, I mean, that's good to see. And now that lateral movement will come more, and it's amazing to see the progress he's made since we saw him in Terre Haute,
right,
when he was limping noticeably, and now he's running and walking with no noticeable limp at all.
The next part is the game shape. Getting back in game shape is going to be the tough part, because you're going to have to do it and take minutes away from someone who's playing well, but you can't just jump in there. He's got to play.
Dilligard on the glass, doesn't get the roll, but he'll go to the line.
Doesn't get the shot either.
You mentioned Dilligard is third in the league in offensive rebounds. He really attacks the glass. Really struggles at the line, though.
1 of 5 tonight.
Sally in for Singh. Sehu Jassy makes his first appearance of the night, replacing J.J. Twy, who scored 12 tonight. Sehu having trouble getting adjusted. Can we get a shot of that? Sehu's having a little trouble with his jersey there on the baseline. Yep.
Let's hope that's the only trouble he has.
Vandalo in for Dilligard, who's still perfect from the field. Porter Moser will get to keep his name in the record book, but he'll get bumped a spot. Dilligard 8 for 8, and that will set a Carver Arena record for opponents. As Joe mentioned earlier, Moser with a 7 for 7 effort when he was a Creighton Blue Jay. Nice pass inside to Sally. He's fouled by Boo Richardson.
I believe that is also the building record there. I think Danny Granger was 8 for 8, and he holds the building record. Mosier was 7 for 7 was for opponents.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe I said that. I'm sorry.
You did.
I did. Okay.
But let's not forget, I think Dilligard's effort now ties everybody.
Right. Sally can't get either one. Bradley beat the Redbirds here last year by 29, so another short end of the stick for Porter Moser here tonight.
Well, these teams will meet in about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, February 3rd, in normal Saturday night game. They're going to rename the court at Redbird Arena, Doug Collins Court, after the All-American. It's going to be a big night for that program.
It's a week from Saturday.
And it's rare that two teams get to play each other that close, but it's going to be done, and these Redbirds will be have this game on their minds.
Andrew Warren off the glass.
Now, we've already seen this year, Lee, where Evansville went to Missouri State and lost by 52, and then beat the Bears in the return trip to Indiana. So it can be done.
Brandon Holtz is out of bounds. And we've got a team with a dominant performance tonight. The 85-58 lead here with 3:43 to play. It's a sea of red. A Bradley record crowd here tonight with 11,444. And And the Redbirds on the floor kind of shaking their heads out there with their body language and just,
when I was
they look a little shell-shocked tonight.
When I was the SAD at Bradley, I always wanted to have the biggest crowd come during a win. They always look better when you line them all up there, and we haven't had a victory. That Illinois game, when we set the record, has been on the books now for a long time, and it was a loss. And we went back and forth for years. Well, Franklin, why not? We went back and forth for years. We lost one to Tulsa. We beat Illinois State for the title in '96 and lost Illinois. Now we've got the record back in the win column, which is, for me personally, nice. I've always wanted that symmetry. We always talk about symmetry at multi-ad, so we have it tonight.
Symmetry, okay. We've got one symmetry and one vitriolic. We're expanding the vocabulary here tonight. You see Sally and Dyer get tangled up. Levi, the big guy, has played so well for Illinois State lately and just kind of ran into a buzzsaw here tonight. He was an all-state tight end at Eaton, Colorado. How'd you like to line up against him? 6'11", 220.
Right.
Averaged 49 yards a punt. In fact, Kevin Brown was telling me the other day that as Johnson lights up the three, that a lot of colleges wanted Dyer to come and punt, but they don't give. I guess they wouldn't give him a scholarship to do it. They just wanted him to come and walk on. That's pretty good average even with the altitude.
Absolutely.
Franklin with the miss. Ryan Lavin, Mike Vandalo, and Sam Singh will all check in on this whistle. Ryan Lavin, 6-foot sophomore from Peoria, Notre Dame, replaces Daniel Ruffin. Singh in for Sally. Ryan Lavin, a former St. Mark's marksman. His picture hanging on the wall in the gym over at St. Mark's, right up there with Brian Randall, now of Illinois, who just can't stay healthy this year.
I got married in St. Mark's.
Is your picture on the wall too?
No, and I have to look into
I was
that.
baptized there.
Your picture should definitely be there.
I don't think so. Sehu Jassy getting the most playing time he's enjoyed this year.
He's obviously going to come in games like this. Bradley, beat the Shockers Saturday night with only 6 players getting major minutes. They have really cut down the rotation because of the injury to Jeremy Crouch and the way the roster sits this year. Don't need a lot of players when you play the type of game they do.
Jassy, tough shot. Carwell in there now for Illinois State. Playing time diminished this year as well. Ronnie Carwell, 6'11", senior from Proviso East, big number 51 out there. And Julius Moore with the bucket. Played for Kirkwood Community College. They finished second in the Division II Junior College Tournament last year. Up next for Bradley, a trip to Springfield where they play Missouri State. Always a tough place for Bradley to win.
And the Bears coming off a loss tonight. That's you never like to see that. They'd like to rebound and not lose 2 in a row at home. Barry Henson will have them, who've already won in Peoria, by the way, really fired up.
Franklin off the glass. Still in there with 1:40 to play. And then Illinois State goes to Carbondale for a Saturday afternoon tilt with the Salukis.
That won't be fun.
No. Ryan Phillips replaces Will Franklin with a game-high 22.
Will the thrill.
Cortez. Warren with the rebound.
Toughest job tonight is picking the player of the game.
Well, and you think, well, okay, you just said Will Franklin scored 22. Zach Andrews with 19 as Jassy misses the long shot.
Gets a stare from the head coach.
I'm going to say Zach Andrews just because last check he was, I believe, 8 for 10 from the floor as Moore hits the 3.
8 of 10 from the floor, 3 of 3 from the line. Should give it to him for that alone.
He scored, and 8 of those points came real early when Bradley kind of set the tone for this game with those early buckets, and Illinois State never recovered.
Absolutely. The game was won in the first 8 minutes.
As the crowd, what's left of it, serenades the Redbirds of Cyrus Eldridge. Can't get it to go, and the Braves can just run it out here. 88-67 will be your final.
We really could have named the final score or the margin tonight, but it's going to be 21, which is over the average for the last 4 times in Peoria. So Bradley definitely has a stranglehold on this rivalry, and their 6th conference victory this year.
4 straight for Bradley over the Redbirds, 7 of the last 9 as the coaches shake hands. It'll be a tough ride home down 74 for the Redbirds as Bradley dominates here tonight. 88-67, your final score. And you mentioned it. I mean, Bradley hit him with that early shot, went up 19-7, 21-7, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, it really was. And you know, there's 2 ways you can play at home. You can come out and figure, well, we're home, we're going to win, or you come out and establish your home court, and that's exactly what Bradley did tonight. They hit them. They hit the Redbirds in the